Chris, what is our third main topic today?
Third topic is from Extant Crab. Hi, John. Big fan of the show. I was wondering what you think the chances are of Sir Ian Mckellen appearing in the new Doctor Strange movie as Magneto. Considering Professor X is going to be there and also the link between Magneto and Wanda in the comics, is there a possibility that he appears? Thanks and keep up the great work.
All right, thanks a lot for saying that in, man. And yeah, of course, listen, we've been talking a lot about Doctor Strange, the Multiverse of Madness ever since that trailer dropped. That incredible, crazy, bar nothing, nutty trailer. Obviously, we had Patrick Stewart pop up in there and everything too. Now, let me give a little bit of an asterisk and a side note here. On yesterday's show, we let you know, Chris wasn't here, so Chris doesn't know, but Rob and I know a significant, we know some pretty major things about Doctor Strange 2 that we are not going to reveal, but we let you guys know, suffice it to say, it excited us a great deal, what we saw.
Yes, it did.
What we saw excited us a great deal. That being said, we don't know everything. We didn't read the entire script. There's certainly there's certain details about Doctor Strange we have no idea about. One of those details is Magneto and whether or not Magneto is in this film. So lest one might think, well, man, John, you already know everything about Doctor Strange. You speculating about Magneto is kind of frivolous. No. We actually don't know. There's a lot of details we don't know. So Magneto is a question mark to us. That's under the what do they call it, Ray, in World of Warcraft when there's a part of the map you're not on that you can't see? Fog of war. Yeah, there's a bit of fog of war here.
I thought it was called Big Surprise.
Big surprise. It's called Fog of War. So we're under a fog of war as far as Magneto goes and a lot of the other details in this. But you bring up a great question about Magneto, because I think there's two reasons why I believe there is a solid, legitimate chance we could see Magneto in this film. All right. And they're both narrative reasons. Not, I want to see Blade pop up. Why? Because Blade's cool. Well, no. Like actual story reasons. Story reason number one. If you are going to use this movie to give us our first introduction and indication that there are, within the grander realm of the multi-MCU, mutants, there are two who are the quintessential face of mutants. Professor Charles Xavier and Eric, also known as Magneto. Those are the two, and they're inseparable. It's like yin and yang. It's like, I don't know, Batman and Robin. It's like the Dallas Cowboys and losing. I mean, they just go together.
Just going after him today.
Shots across the bow. Shots across the bow.
But it's just, they go together, right? Mm-hmm. And if Professor Charles Xavier is there as one, I think it gives you a lot of narrative reasoning to believe that maybe a Magneto could be there as well. If you're kind of introducing the concept of X-Men and mutants, there are two faces that represent that concept, and it's Professor X and it's Magneto. But the more important narrative reason why I believe that a Magneto is a solid possibility to show up there is not his connection to Charles Xavier. Lest we forget, it's his connection to Wanda. He Wanda daddy. Now, not in the MCU. Not in the MCU. I mean, unless her memories were, the reality altering and all that kind of stuff. But as they've presented it so far in the MCU, he's not her daddy. But we know that Wanda Maximoff's real father is Eric. He's her father. And kind of the reason, or one of the main reasons why she found herself in a moment of anger, rage, and desperation and uttered the words, "No more mutants," which I believe is something that's going to play a part in this movie. We've been speculating that for a while now. So I am not ready to say, I'll bet you that Magneto is going to be in this movie. I'm not there yet. But I am saying there are two very significant, to me, narrative reasons why if you believe he's going to be there, I can get on board with that. If I had to set an over-under, I'd say I'd go as high as 40%, which is pretty close to a coin flip. I would go as high as 40% because, again, I just think story-wise, it would make sense. And if you are going to reference the No More Mutants thing, I think Eric should probably be a part of that. Or at least as to the reasons why. Again, I'm speculating, no idea. And I'm not even saying 80%, I'm saying 40%. Hey guys, we want to take a minute and thank the sponsor of today's video, the good folks at Keeps. Now look, you guys probably already know that 2 out of every 3 men will experience some form of hair loss by the time they're just 35 years old. Now that's where Keeps comes in, because Keeps has more 5-star reviews than any of its competitors. That means the guys that use it love it. Keeps offers a simple, affordable, and stress-free way to keep your hair. It's also low cost. Treatments start as low as just $10 per month, and Keeps offers generic versions for the 2 FDA-approved medications to prevent hair loss. That means treatment plans are affordable, typically half the cost of pharmacy prices. Keeps has everything your hair needs delivered straight to your door with discreet packaging and proven results. Remember, prevention is the key. Treatments can take 4 to 6 months to see results, so the sooner you act, the better. When it comes to your hair, save more, spend less with Keeps. So if you're ready to take action and prevent hair loss, go to Keeps, that's KEEPS.com/Campea to receive your first month of treatment for free. That's Keeps, KEEPS.com/Campea to get your first month free. Keeps.com/Campea. Rob, they're writing and they're saying, hey, we got Charles Xavier. What do you think about Magneto? I don't think it's a crazy thought. Why do you think it is or is not a decent idea that maybe he could be there?
Well, let's look at what they've done with the MCU already. They have now incorporated both the Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire Spider-Man movies, which are both different continuities. So they're essentially 2 different universes that existed. Why shouldn't the Fox X-Men universe also be adjacent to the MCU? Meaning that if you have Patrick Stewart in this movie, you are absolutely saying that the entirety of this Fox, you're not going to pick, well, we're going to take Charles Xavier, but that means nothing else exists. It means that the entire continuity or lack thereof, because the continuity was all over the place, but still, the entire Fox X-Men pantheon, 20 years of movies, is also adjacent to the MCU. Meaning that any one of those characters that we saw in those movies could show up in Multiverse of Madness. And why not? And what's really interesting is we've already seen one, even though they played with we saw it in WandaVision. Whatever vision of Quicksilver or whatever that was, Ralph Boner, whatever you want to call it, and I'm still not convinced that we're not going to revisit that at some point.
I am.
There's a reason why they did that. And I am willing to bet we have not seen the end of that. There's something that's something that's going to play out. We're going to see that play out somehow in this movie or somewhere else. And I don't know how, but they messed with us with WandaVision. And that was, so I really do think that we are going to see, we know Charles Xavier is in this movie. I am willing to bet you dollars to donuts, 100%, John, over under 100%, we will see another mutant that we have previously seen in the Fox X-Men movies. Don't know if it's Magneto, but as you pointed out, good guess. And if she did say no more mutants, and she did create a new reality with her family, the trauma, the Stark bomb, whatever it was, that whole thing, and the sitcom stuff.
Yeah.
So those parents she had were the normal human parents she always wanted to have, that she never had. So that life that she created all the way back to when she was a little girl, she altered all of reality for her whole life in her mind. I wouldn't be surprised if we don't see Magneto.
Chris, you're hearing this? I mean, it's an issue. And by the way, this brings up a secondary question. Not only what do you think the chances are, what would be the reasons for or against Magneto popping up, but then if he does, the other part of the question we haven't asked yet is, what Magneto do we see? Do we see a Sir Ian Mckellen that is more akin to the Patrick Stewart era of X-Men, or do we see a Michael Fassbender who so wonderfully picked up the mantle from Ian McKellen? So I don't know. How do you see this?
Papa Magneto or is it Daddy Magneto? Who we getting? I do think it makes sense. But I mean, honestly, at this point, I could see my Aunt Barbara in Multiverse of Madness and be like, that makes sense. This all pans out to me.
Yeah.
But it's hard to say, though, because we had so many Easter eggs in WandaVision. are those actually buried memories of Wanda's, or are they just Easter eggs?
Yes,
right?
I know. That's my favorite question right now.
That's what's so interesting, because we have, like, in the very first episode, we see bova milk everywhere, right? Referencing the humanoid cow nurse that she had as a child that her parents like dumped her off at, where I think it was her and Pietro were dumped off with this like cow nurse. So is that a buried memory? Is that buried trauma or something of hers that ties in her actual father and her actual origin story? When we see her talking to that other Wanda in the trailer, is she talking to a Wanda who's grieving the loss of her children instead of grieving Vision? You know, there's a lot of stuff that could mean that Magneto is part of this. But anything is possible, right?
I mean, you talk about Kevin Feige talking about we're going to see mutants in 5 years. And John, you pointed out, if that was the case, they planned it.
Yeah.
They've been planning this. And if it is this no more mutants thing, and and by the way, this is speculation versus expectation.
For sure.
I mean, my problem now is my speculation is my expectation, which I hate. I mean, I don't like that. I mean, I in my mind, I'm already convinced that they've been playing this long game with the mutants, and this is where they're building up to the introduction of the X-Men in the franchise. And that is my expectation. It's also my speculation. And I wish I could break free of it, John. I think about this every day because you put that in my head. But if that was the case, that means everything in WandaVision was very much intentional. And I think it is. I think it absolutely was intentional.
I agree. Except for the Bonner part, because I honestly think I think that was the greatest troll of the audiences ever by Kevin Feige. I think that was the purpose.
Yeah, but the thing is, I don't believe that he would do that.
I do.
Because it denigrates everything they've built for the rest of the MCU. I
disagree.
I think the purpose behind that has yet to be revealed.
He's Mephisto.
It was Mystique the whole time.
It was Mystique the whole time. We'll see. Anyway, guys, the question is for you, and I think there's a couple of interesting ones here. Number one, since Patrick Stewart is there, do you see a narrative purpose while maybe a Magneto could appear as well? If so, could he A, be the McKellen era Magneto? Could he B, be the Fassbender era Magneto? Or thirdly, could it be a completely separate thing? Could Tom Cruise actually be Magneto? Could he be a Magneto variant in this thing? It's a Council of Cruises. I'm telling you, this movie's going to have the Council of Cruises. What do you guys think? Whatever it is, jump on down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts.